map. This is a map I found on Reddit. It's a map about European colonization of the globe. In dark blue, we can see Europe itself. In a slight grayish blue, we can see um, con- partially territorial countries that are in Europe and in other continents. In light green blue, we can see the territories that countries still hold that European countries still hold from conquests. In dark purple, we can see what they formerly held. In light purple, we can see their vassals. In dark pink or magenta, whatever you want to call it, we can see their occupations. And in light pink, we can see their spheres of influence. Also, in gray, we can see countries that got independence from it, and we can also see the territories they conquered. If we look, there are only a few places on Earth, excluding the North and South Pole areas, where it was never colonized. Liberia, Ned, this desert in China, this area of China, the inlands of Taiwan, and yeah, never mind, that's it. Anyway, due to us knowing that how the Europeans conquered literally everything, we start to get an enlarged view of Europe. We start to think about how powerful it is. Well, it was, but still. And we start to think, and when we think of developed countries, oh, looky that. Every single country in Europe, well, not every single one, but most, are developed. However, this also gives us a large view of Europe. When we look at it, Europe starts to seem large, and almost every single country in Europe seems to be larger than another country. And that's basically true, yeah. They are larger than at least one country, except for the Vatican City. That's sad. Anyway, but this is still having problems considering how so tiny they really are when you think about it. This is the photo projection. It's meant to show land areas at their best potential. However, this does make it hard to show Antarctica and the distance between countries. Anyway, my point here is that if we look right here at Europe, we can see that only two countries, Russia and Kazakhstan, and a third, Denmark if you kind of count it, are shown in Europe as large countries. And by the way, this is not the top 10, not the top 20, but the top 30. 30 countries, and only 3 countries in Europe. And even then, these countries in Europe aren't just in Europe. Denmark has lands in North America, while the other two have lands in Asia. So today I'm going to be using an app called the True Size Of to show you how tiny Europe is. I did a video like this once and it did pretty well. So, without further ado, let's begin. Why don't we start with the example on the thumbnail? Indonesia. As you can see, Indonesia, if we put it on top of Europe, it spans the entire length of Europe, excluding Kazakhstan and Russia. Due to this, we can already see how small Europe is. But it's not only the width. If we turn Indonesia on its head, we can see that it is also longer ads. I hate them when they come out at the wrong time. Anyway, we can see that it covers the entire height of Europe as well. This can also be said for Russia. Russia, the world's largest country, can be covered by Indonesia's width. And it even does come close when Indonesia is flipped back as well. Next up is the USA. If you like see maps, once again, if you go on the internet, you're probably gonna see this picture putting the Mediterranean Sea inside the USA. Honestly, this is kind of an interesting topic. When I look closely, I see that Italy and Greece seem to have European features, while the rest seem to be North American. I want to see a scenario where the Mediterranean was actually in the middle of the USA. I recommend watching this video by Alternate History. It's a very interesting video and details the scenario very well. Anyway, back to the video. More details can also be shown that the Mediterranean, the world's largest sea, isn't really that large. In fact, it comes close to the massive Arabian Sea, a very wide sea at best. And the more you look at other countries and compare them, the Mediterranean Sea actually seems smaller and smaller and smaller. Now let's look at a US state, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the smallest state, I hate ads, in the country of the USA. But oh, would you look at that? It seems to have eaten Belgium. Why did you do that, Massachusetts? Bad boy. It's also similar in size to Lithuania, Czechia, Slovakia, and even Albania. The last one is honestly an exact match in my opinion. I mean, look at it. Doesn't it look like exactly the same? No, just me, okay. Now, the next country is Iceland. Now, Iceland is one of those countries which you think of as those only small countries in Europe. However, it's even smaller. It's 3 times larger on a map than it is on the actual Earth. It's around the size of French Guiana. Iceland is just interesting. Iceland is already thought of small, but because it's farther from the equator, it's even more, well, disproportionate. It's about the size of Suriname. But you know how Iceland is small? Yep, it's around the size of almost all of these countries. It's almost Austria. It's almost Hungary. It's almost Austria, Hungary. No, 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 no. No, it isn't. Look at it. Just look at it. Another reason why almost every single European country is a tiny blob. Next is California. Let's go. California. As you can see, the third largest state is often not thought of being that large until you go up to the UK. Yep, the UK. Bring California right over there and find out it's larger than the British Isles. Why is it larger than... Oh yeah, it's also larger than Sweden, by the way. Even the two Mexican Californias do hold some size differences. Go California. In fact, it's larger than every single Nordic country save Denmark in some occasions. And Mexico. We never really think about Mexico, do we? But now seeing how 2 of its states are pretty large. Europe, get bigger. Next is Denmark. Denmark, it's like the Iceland thing, okay? This doesn't cover Greenland. I'm just saying the mainland of Denmark. Denmark. I'm just back of the times of Denmark, Norway. Denmark used to own Norway. But now Denmark owns Denmark. So Of course, it is the largest of the Nordic countries, but if you remove Greenland, it immediately becomes the smallest of the Nordic countries, which kind of seems weird in my opinion. But once again, because Denmark is so high and already seems small, even smaller. Denmark is even smaller than Iceland. Iceland! Next is France. France is the #1 tourist destination, so obviously we do get an enlarged mind when it comes to that. First off, I feel bad for Algeria. Algeria is the 10th largest country, and it is seen that France and Algeria are almost the same. Just by moving a few miles down. I mean, not few, but miles down. Instead of thirds, it's fourths. And if that's not enough, how about France's own Alaska? French Guiana. Mouse reveal. Anyway, French Guiana. We think of it as small. Only 3 of them, and you have another France. You have another France. Another literal France. Why is metropolitan France shown with a lowercase number? I don't want any more of this. No more ads, please, please. Alright, so this entire video, I was talking about how Europe is tiny, very tiny. But now, I've got to show you one country which surpasses them all. The country in Europe, which is not tiny. It is, in fact, tidy. And that country is Russia. I mean, Luxembourg. Yes, Luxembourg. Just look at how many small countries can fit into Luxembourg. We always think of unlike all the other countries in Europe, it's the other way around for Luxembourg. We always think of it as small, one of those tiny states. However, it can fit all of these tiny states and have room for more, way more. It can fit around 7 St. Kitts and Nevises, 4 Singapores, and don't get me started on Vatican City. Kudos to Luxembourg for not being like the rest. And kudos to you, viewer, for watching this video. And kudos for you for possibly subscribing to this channel and liking this video. And kudos to me for deleting this ad.